there, coward.
What a hoot! Another week.
Another shelf full of games.
And another edition of Bits Hits the Telly.
Hello!
Tonight we're getting savvied in Silent Hill in the First Bits Masterclass. We're getting fancied up in WWF attitude, and we're getting ridiculous with Cosmopolitan Virtual Makeover.
But first here's Alex with the Starfleet or Star Wars games.
In the beginning, George Lucas took over the universe and created a film of epic proportions. Then came now. You've probably seen his latest movies. You may even be thinking about purchasing the games. Racer, Phantom Menace, Insider's Guide. The saga continues. Should we care? Let's start at the top. Phantom Menace does just that, and then it infuriatingly takes you step by mediocre step through the plotline of the movie. Put on the soft slippers and get yourself a bad haircut. You're starting this game as Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's poison gas filling the room, and you've got to get out and battle some serious droids. Theoretically, the game was intended to be a Tomb Raider-esque non-linear adventure, but instead of exploring multi-corridors and paths, you're stuck in a firm line to the finale. It's the SNES version of Zelda in Star Wars clothing. You'd better be equipped with nerves of steel, because after a few hours of noises, you'll find yourself dropping your lightsaber and heading to the nearest clock tower with some heftier machinery. You take on the roles of Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, Queen Amidala, and Captain Panaka during the course of the game, each dude having different strengths and weaknesses. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan use the Force quite a bit, being Jedi Knights and all, whereas Queenie and Captain P rely on more concrete weaponry. There are secret weapons cabinets littered around the levels. Sadly, they're not so secret, and they're purely functional, which means that they're a lot less amusing and a lot less distracting than the little hidden extras you find in other games. Popcorn, peanuts, hot dog. For example, in Mos Espa, after Qui-Gon chats to the character Padme, he can follow some Jawas and their camel-like lab animal gone awry down the street to find a repeating cannon available for use on as many of the little red-eyed people he sees hanging around. The actions you take are less engaging than Chewbacca's half-hour Wookiee conversation with his family in the Star Wars Christmas special circa 1980. There are two action possibilities that were unfortunately overlooked by the marketing machine. You can't give any of the main characters a good seeing to with your lightsaber, and you can't play the pod race. For that, we move on to the next game. The saving grace of the trilogy is the PC and N64-based Racer. Incredibly fast and truly the bomb. This super speeder takes the adrenaline of Dolby surround sound and lands it on top of your little black box, fully intact. Go grab your helmets, because you're in for a wild ride. It looks mild to the experienced. In fact, when we previewed the early parts of the game a couple of months ago, it seemed pretty lame. But as you advance 25 tracks through the amateurs, the semi-pros, the galactic, and the invitational pod racing circuits, you'll note that you're losing your momentum. Get that smug smile off your face, Sebulba's the boss, and you're gonna be his breakfast. This game is undoubtedly easier to control on the console. Like Rogue Squadron before it, the controls for the keyboard should just be ignored and a good joystick invested in, unless you plan on growing a few extra fingers. And stop mocking the novice. Even the experts will be flailing their arms about as they try to control their pod in the latter stages. We're talking fast. The key, though, is to slide, baby, slide. There's a small concern with the build of the vehicle. You're towed along by what appears to be a rocket launcher. Now, I don't think the boys at Ford Motors are going to be borrowing that configuration. Luckily, there's a fix-em-up option that allows you to repair whilst zooming along at panty-wetting speed. If you don't want to end up as toast in the next round, go along to Wado's shop and trade your winnings for upgrades. If he's too expensive, the junkyard's a cheaper alternative. They sell the same things for less. During the race, it's important to keep your eye on the surroundings. There are time savers built in, like jumps and alternate routes with fewer twists and turns. Also, wait until there's at least a horizon's length view before you hit the booster and blast off to speeds upwards of 900 miles per hour.
It does look disarmingly like another N64 title, XG2. Now, its high-speed floating motorbikes made some weenies whitey. So, if you can't handle the speed, leave the powder on Tatooine and head to the Star Wars Train Spotter Zone. Welcome to the Insider's Guide. Welcome.
You have entered a galaxy far, far away, and before you leave, you'll answer 400 anally retentive triv questions. You'll gaze upon the concept designs for the Gungan Sacred Place, and you'll learn that, before he was picked up by Darth Sidious, Darth Maul was a model for Alexander Fashions, the uniform specialists. This is heaven for those folks who really did keep all the original plastic figures in the packaging. Become one with the virtual force. It's uber-friendly to all you Windows alumni. A simple point-and-click interface will take you through an obsessional encyclopedia of the wonderful fictional world of Episode 1. Remember, folks, I said fictional. This is not reality. It's contained on 2 packed CD-ROMs, and inside the guide, you'll find all the information you ever wanted to know about Comlinks. You'll also have access to movie trailers A and B, locations, vehicles, characters and their organizations, and the expanded universe. On the not scary side, it's got the full scripts, so you don't have to rely on taking some random guy's poor transcription off the internet, and it's got some really nice looking movie files. So, if you want to grow a beard and a hunchback, sit yourself down in front of the PC. It's lost some of its magic since the film's release, but you can still be smug about knowing what C-3PO's last line in Episode 1 is.
All 3 are out now. Mysteriously, The Phantom Menace has been holding high in the PC and PlayStation charts. Racer has been topping the all formats thanks to its N64 and PC version, and the Insider's Guide is out on PC. Yo, give it up for the Force.
So you're brave enough to get into the ring, but are you tough enough to get out of it again on your own 2 feet? Probably not. Well, armchair heroes, you can relax, because here comes the long-awaited WWF Attitude. For the past 18 months, Acclaim have been working away to create this monster of a wrestling game for PlayStation and N64. It's a sequel to WWF Warzone. Not only is it much bigger, it also has many more features, so you feel closer to your heroes than ever. For starters, there are 40 featured WWF superstars. 10 of them are secret. All come with their own unique and genuine moves and intros. You could say Acclaim has really built character into the game this time. For example, there's the Stone Cold Steve Austin, who you can have perform his very own drop toe hold move or the deadly Mafia kick. All in all, there are 150 new moves in the game, covering finishers, grunts, and trademark moves. You can even fake unconsciousness once you're knocked down and use a few seconds when your opponent thinks he's in the clear to launch a counterattack. Think you want to get a little bit more intimate with your player? Well, WWF Attitude has taken the famous Create a Player mode a step further. This time there's much more creativity built into the feature than we saw in Warzone. You can even adjust facial features with no limit for nastiness. Once you're done with the modeling, it's time to assign some moves. You can either create them from scratch or mix and match them with some existing ones. Which brings me to the audience participation. Even though you can hear them shouting, they are not animated in the Nintendo version. They all look a bit dull in the background. Only the PlayStation version is going to have some limited motion of people waving or standing up. Altogether, this game is not for the light-hearted. I'm surprised it hasn't got a certificate with all that juice flying around, especially with the blood option turned on. With all these great character features, this game makes top entertainment. WWF Attitude for PlayStation and N64 is out to buy now.
The dolphin is dead. Long live the next generation Nintendo console. Yes, that's what they're calling the replacement for the N64, instead of the rather more compact and cute Dolphin. This new, now not DVD-compatible piece of rapidly losing its sexiness hardware is being touted at the very reasonable price point of around the $100 to $150 mark. However, Nintendo have just hooked up with 3 top companies to produce some cool sound tools and hardware for the console. Phew, I was beginning to lose my faith in Nintendo there for a minute.
Yes, it's that time of the year again, and official UK PlayStation magazine just hosted the event of the year in London's Sound Republic. Lovely Denise Van Atten was presenting, and us Bits girls were judging on the panel. And we just nipped back from the party to give you the exclusive television results. Alex, tell us about the winners of the evening.
Of course, Claudia. Yes, so who came up with the best games character? Lara Croft, of course. And the best sports game, ISS Pro 98. Best driving game, Gran Turismo. Most innovative game, music. And the best beat 'em up, Go Williams Girls, it was Tekken 3.
And there's more. Best game developer went to Konami, best game publisher to Sony, best game graphics to Gran Turismo, and most addictive game to Anna Kournikova's Smash Court Tennis. That must have been the cutscenes.
I was sad to see that the concept Japanese games didn't make it into the nomination pool this year, especially the fabulous Beatmania and the Dance Dance Revolution.
And what about Ridge Racer Type 4 and Driver? They got nominated but never got through.
Beware.
Here's an update on a couple of games that have just hit the shops.
The preview copy was on the show a couple of weeks ago. Now it's finished and looking dandy. So if white powder and speeding around in novel vehicles is your thing, get down to your local purveyor of fine games because Sledstorm on the PlayStation is in the shops now. The Football League's starting and now you can match it game for game. We previewed this one a while back, but FA Premier League Stars, the ball game with a twist, is rolling into the shops now. Available for your PC and PlayStation.
Argonaut has just announced the release of Croc 2 for PlayStation. That crocodile cartoon character is about to whiz around in a brand new adventure. He is as cute as before and on a mission to save the Gobos, who have again been imprisoned by Baron Dante. But this time he is set to put an end to Dante's regime once and for all. His new adventure will have him travel freely around a 3D world with more than 40 levels and, rumor has it, many more tricks. Croc will come fully equipped with brand new roll attacks, which will have the opponents spinned away a bit like Crash Bandicoot. You can also bash your enemies with flip kicks. His little knack of climbing walls may also remind you of Gex. It's a reptile thing. The environments already look beautifully rendered and will be very diverse. There will be rainforests to explore, underground mines to conquer, and winter worlds to search. There are plenty of sweet cartoony touches, such as using a balloon to float smoothly to the ground. Plus, Argonaut have promised us tons of mini-games, including a shooting gallery and some Mario-style racing. Croc 2 promises to be a worthy sequel that will have you flexing your thumbs in Crash Bandy style. And for all you Kingpin hard boys out there, this might be a suitable piece of light entertainment before you go back blowing holes on people. Croc 2 for PlayStation is out in September.
Well, we finally pulled our fingers out and we're just about to announce the very first winner from the very first program of Bits way back in the day.
Yeah, and the question was, who invented the microchip?
And obviously the answer is Jack St. Kilby and Robert Noyce.
Ben McNeil, you are the proud owner of a Civ 2 Call to Power PC.
You lucky, lucky boy.
After the break, we've got the lowdown on Silent Hill and this week's cheats, so set those VCRs a recording. To pay off, well, screw that and start bruising your way into a rich and varied life of success after success. Yes, it's cheat time again here on Bits.
Annoyed by 8-year-old kids screaming, "Kick-ass, man!" Then surely you've had enough of South Park on the Nintendo. That game which poops out chicken droppings to kill the baddies. Well, liven it up by replacing the kids with Big Gay Al. Go to the Cheats menu and enter Outrage. Then let it rip.
I've got a nice little cheat for any of you who can't decide if they should be watching their favorite kiddie show or diving into the intergalactic world of Descent 3. This one will put the cutesy wootsy Teletubby son into the picture. Why play in the game? Just type in Teletubbies and up will pop that baby face. Just listen to that galactic gurgle.
Parappa the Rappa is that quintessentially Japanese game in which you play the prepubescent hip-hop dog Parappa, who's freestyle rapping his way into the heart of his beloved Sunny Funny. But would you rather play through the game with the dulcet tones of Chop Chop Master? Here is how to change Parappa's voice into any of the other characters. After getting through the first 2 levels with a cool rating, simply press X, 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 triangle, circle, triangle, square, square, right, left, square, X, and then get through the 3rd level as per usual, and then press X, square, triangle, circle, X, R1, and then scroll through the different voices of the different characters in the game with either a circle or a triangle.
10 weeks ago, Alex previewed Silent Hill for you. The game caused some seismic activity on the electronic communication lines of the global gaming community. Now it's in the shops and doing big business for Konami.
If you've been living in the wild for the past couple of months, this is a tale shrouded in mystery. The story begins with a car crash. You play Harry Mason. Harry is taking his young daughter Cheryl to the holiday town of Silent Hill. On their way, they're suddenly cocooned in thick fog. A ghostly girl appears out of the mist. The car swerves and everything goes black. The game begins when you wake up to find Cheryl missing and no sign of life anywhere. Harry sets off on his epic mission in search of his beloved daughter.
I'd imagine that quite a few of you have been playing this game for a while now, so I've got some top tips to help you get through this bloody ordeal. It's in chronological order, so if you haven't got that far, then turn the sound down. The last thing I'd want to do is ruin it for you.
The early stages involve copious amounts of running around, and if Hazza ever gets out of there alive, he's going to be one fit bloke. This is where you'll begin to get a feel of how Konami have put the game together, how the puzzles work, and an idea of where they may have hidden essential items.
If you're trying to get inside the developer's mind, you'll find progressing a lot easier. Think about where you might try and hide the keys. And also look out for the beasties, because as soon as you see lots of them, you know you're getting to a hotspot.
You'll get tooled up along the way, but possibly the most important pickup will be the maps. If you're in a new area, always look for them first and make sure you check all levels of it, as these maps often have a handy little indicator pointing to where you need to go next. Refer to them frequently.
Next come the weapons. You'll pick up some cool stuff in the early levels, including a shotgun and rifles. And if you go back and play the game a second time, you'll enter what's called the Next Sphere mode. There you'll get even more pickups, including a chainsaw and a rock drill. However, my weapon of choice is the pickaxe.
Once you've mastered the timing of the swing or downwards thunk, you'll find it extremely effective at dispatching monsters. And if you hit a nurse squarely on the head, she'll writhe around on the floor for you. Fantastic stuff. Often one hit followed by a boot to the body will be enough to kill the ghoulies, rather than wasting 3 or 4 precious bullets on them. Of course, you must experiment with your arsenal. Have fun with it. But you won't always need it. When you're running around, you should be able to avoid most creatures with a swift shimmy. Smooth moves, Hazza.
Next up are the puzzles. The early ones are fairly obvious. Just think about the clues that you're being given.
Later ones are likely to have you thinking a little more. Remember your physics lessons and revisit your inventory for a description of items. Word of advice. Pick up everything possible. Check all nooks and crannies, because you never know when you might need something, and sometimes it won't be until much, much later. Like that weird liquid you find on the floor in the director's office at the hospital. Scoop it up with a plastic bottle. This item will allow you different ending options. Collecting stuff like this early on will save you running back to look for something essential.
And finally, don't be afraid of the bosses. They're just pussycats, really.
Although you may lose a little life, stand your ground and fire when ready. Don't forget you can always take a health boost mid-fight. There are 4 possible endings the first time you play. The outcome is decided by certain key decisions that you'll make during play.
However, if you do decide to go back and play the game a second time, not only will you get those extra weapons, but you'll also have access to a 5th secret ending, which is definitely time well spent.
Resident Evil is the original of this genre, and it seems to have spawned a Devil's following this summer. Not only do we have the deeply bleak Silent Hill, but the third instalment of Resident Evil is due out before Christmas. And come September, we'll also have the truly epic Shadow Man, which, like Silent Hill, uses the emotional trick of a child to put the fear of God in you.
Silent Hill has got some real twists and turns, and I'd recommend it to anyone with a strong heart. It's available to buy now for your PlayStation.
A trip to the beauty salon can sometimes be as painful as going to the dentist. You want a new look but don't quite know what style is gonna suit you? Worry no more. Cosmopolitan Virtual Makeover for PC will come to your rescue. The game was designed in cooperation with that glossy Bible of girly tips, Cosmopolitan magazine. It not only gives you a new hairstyle, but also lets you sample virtual makeup and fashion accessories like hats, specs and even contact lenses. All you have to do to get started is get a headshot of yourself into the computer via a scanner or a digital camera. If you don't have any of these gadgets, you could pick up a stand-in lookalike from the model photos that come with the CD. Unless, of course, you're really, really hideous. Now it's time to mess around. First, there's the hair section, which has over 150 different styles up for grabs. From long to short, curly to straight. Cuts come in all different kinds of shades, and for some extra oomph, why not apply some highlights to your barnet? And if you still can't find the right one, well, you probably got one of those faces which is hardly ever in fashion. But fashion is a fickle thing. To accommodate that hard but persistent truth, the game comes with a neat little feature. An internet option which enables you to download the latest chic from the Virtual Makeover website. The only drawback of this mode is that you can't further customize the preloaded cuts. Now, once you got your hair in order, you can try on different samples of makeup such as foundation, blusher, eyeshadow and lipstick. The makeup types are all authentic available CoverGirl branded cosmetics. So once you like the combination, you can print out a shopping list. And there's also a feature which allows you to add, remove and change the colors of your eyebrows without tearing into your own head unnecessarily. But don't get overexcited. The makeup option is the mode that works least well in the game. The outcome of the colors depend very much on how light the photograph was in the first place. Also, the way you apply the lipstick or eyeshadow is a bit iffy. The mouse is a limited applicator, and the result can look a bit smudged, like attacking yourself with a spray can. But this is a good place to try out some basic ideas. Do a little bit of experimenting and then show the results to your friends, hairdressers or beauticians. Cosmopolitan Virtual Makeover comes with the added bonus of a slideshow as well as a printing option. So there's no reason for holding back on that virtual modeling career you've always dreamt of. And don't worry if you got a darker skin tone than the faces pictured here. Another title, Essence Virtual Makeover, is designed especially for you. If you've never quite got Barbie out of your system, let loose on your own face. Modern life is so great. Cosmopolitan Virtual Makeover for PC is out to buy now.
Competition time! And this week we're getting mystical on your ass.
And one lucky PC owner is gonna win a brand spanking new Voodoo 3 3D FX card and a copy of Dungeon Keeper 2.
And if you want it, then you're going to have to convince us that you are the wittiest of them all by answering this simple question.
Which video game character would you like to stick pins in and why?
Please send us your bloodstained answers with the sacrifice of your choice to bitsonforlater@yahoo.co.uk.